Hey, John Holdmeier here from Actual Outdoors. I've been in the outdoor industry in product development and marketing for about 15 to 20 years now, and I've been, just a lifelong avid outdoor person, be it fly fishing, kayaking, canoeing, camping. I'm always looking for new products or new things that kind of change my perspective on how to get outdoors. And some of the stuff that's been coming out of Newport recently, specifically this new motor that they have, the electric motor, the NT300, it really has kind of changed my perspective on how I get outside and how I fish. I spend a lot of time fishing for trout and fishing for smallmouth here in the Ozarks. I have a couple different options for getting out on the water when it comes to that, be it a drift boat or a river boat or something with a big motor that can really run up and down the river. And so we do quite a bit of that. But the thing that I have struggled with a little bit is how to get out by myself on a boat. So one of the unique fisheries we have here in the Ozarks is the White River. And the thing that's really unique about the White is that it's a tailwater. So the water releases out of a dam at the top of the run. And, we have about like 40 or 50 miles at least, if not more, of amazing fishable trout water. It's probably my favorite place in the Ozarks to fish, just because of the amount of water and the amount of healthy fish populations that are there. There's plenty of food in the river system, huge caddis hatches, huge sulfur hatches in the spring, and then a lot of bait fish, a lot of smaller stuff for the fish to eat year round. So the river's full of wild brown trout. They spawn every fall in the river. And the unique thing about that fishery is that you either have to catch it when they're not releasing water and wade fish, and that's really difficult to target large fish in that water because they're so skittish when the water's really low, or you have to go out in a boat with a group of people when the water's releasing, when they're generating water. And that's really the best way to target the big fish on the White River, is when they're releasing at least some water out of the dam. The fish feel more comfortable to get active and move around and feed. And so the fish are eating, like this time of year, they're eating hoppers. And it's pretty fun on the White because you're not fishing these little natural looking hopper patterns. You're fishing big, huge, bright, oversized hoppers. And I've been looking for a way when, I want to get out, say for a day by myself. I needed to find a way to get out where I could still fish this big water solo. The solution that I came up with has worked really well. I've paired this new NT300 from Newport with Boat Rover Aero SUP, which is kind of like a little mini inflatable skiff. And so the motor works perfectly with this boat, and the way that I've been able to use it is, you need a huge motor to run up the White River when they're generating a lot of power. But what they've been doing all summer on the White is they've been releasing, no water overnight. And then in the morning at about 10 a.m., they start to release a little bit. And then around noon, they really ramp up the release for this spike of water in the middle of the day into the evening. And so the thing that this motor paired with this boat has allowed me to do is I can go out on the water when they're releasing minimum flow, and I can park at my takeout. I can run upstream with the motor easily. So I can get up about 5 or 6 miles upstream, kind of taking my time in the morning because the motor makes quick work of the flat stretches. And then when I get to a shallow spot, I just have to take my time a little bit and pick it apart a little bit more. I think I only had to get out 1 or 2 times, and I made it probably 5 or 6 miles upstream pretty easily, stopping and fishing along the way, taking my time in the morning, just working my way upstream. And then once that release of water hits in the middle of the afternoon, I can take my time floating back down with all that water and fishing hoppers to the bank. This has been the first time that I've ever been able to float and fish and cast to the bank without having to have a shuttle. Shuttle prices have been going up just like everything else has been going up. So instead of having to drop 40 or 50 bucks on a shuttle, I can just park at my takeout, run upstream, cast hoppers at the bank for 6 miles in the evening, and then wrap up at the end of the day. It's really revolutionizing how I approach fishing this river and how I can get out on the water by myself when I don't have anybody else to go out. It's pretty nice to have an option to get out there whenever I want to get out there on my own and chase these fish. You know, this trip was pretty awesome. This was my first time using the motor, and it was my first time catching high quality brown trout on hoppers by myself, floating down the river on my SUP skiff. And you know, the battery, it lasted, I was down on the river for 2 days on this trip, and I didn't even have to recharge the battery overnight. It got me upriver the first day and then got me upriver the second day. So I was really impressed with the longevity of the battery power and the life of the battery. So I think it's pretty fair to say that in general, this first impression of the motor and getting it out on the water, it's really blown me away. I know it's going to change how I fish in the future for the better, and it's really going to help me get out more often. Highly recommend and thoroughly impressed, and I can't wait to get back out there.